Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share us FDA Suspends milk quality tests. I'm going to give you tips on US FDA Suspends milk quality tests. Here's why Trump admin made the move. The FDA has suspended its milk quality testing program due to staffing cuts and the closure of its Moffitt Center lab. Triggered by the Trump administration's workforce reductions and proposed budget cuts, the move weakens food safety oversight and halts key programs detecting pathogens and avian flu in dairy products. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has suspended a vital quality control program for fluid milk and other dairy products, further weakening federal food safety efforts already under pressure from sweeping staffing reductions. According to an internal FDA email reviewed by Reuters, the agency is pausing its proficiency testing program for grade A raw milk and finished dairy goods, a key mechanism used to ensure accuracy and consistency across food safety labs nationwide. This move comes amid a broader reshuffling within the Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, which oversees the FDA. In recent weeks, roughly 20,000 federal employees were let go or resigned as part of President Donald Trump's push to downsize the federal workforce. The FDA has also proposed budget cuts totaling $40 billion, putting even more stress on its food safety infrastructure. Why has this step been taken? The decision stems from the shutdown of the FDA's Moffitt Center Proficiency Testing Laboratory, which previously managed the dairy testing program. The lab is no longer capable of providing support for proficiency testing or data analysis due to staffing and resource constraints. As a result, the agency can no longer maintain the high standard of testing required for grade A milk products, milk that meets the most stringent cleanliness and safety regulations in the dairy industry. Also listen, who is Tim Pool, MAGA podcaster? Questions Caroline Levitt at White House briefing. In the email sent to network laboratories on Monday, the FDA stated the suspension was necessary because the Moffitt lab is no longer able to provide laboratory support for proficiency testing and data analysis. The lab had already been scheduled for decommissioning, but the wave of personnel cuts accelerated the timeline and disrupted ongoing operations. The suspension is just the latest in a string of setbacks for the FDA's food testing capabilities. Earlier this month, the agency also paused programs focused on detecting avian flu in dairy products and tracking dangerous pathogens such as cyclospora in the food supply. Get latest news live on Times Now, along with breaking news and top headlines from US News, World, and around the world. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has claimed he wants to make America healthy again, but pretty much everything he has done since taking over as head of the Department of Health and Human Services seems destined to make Americans sicker and less healthy. Reuters reports that under Kennedy, the Food and Drug Administration has announced it will suspend a quality control program that tests milk and other dairy products. The outlet cites emails from the FDA's Division of Dairy Safety to report that the shuttered program, which involves proficiency testing for grade A raw milk and other dairy products, will no longer operate. Proficiency testing ensures that America's network of food safety labs operates consistently with federal standards. Milk products have, historically, needed to comply with federal requirements to be considered grade A. The suspension of the program comes as workforce cuts batter the agency's Food Safety and Nutrition Division, Reuters notes. The FDA's Moffitt Center Proficiency Testing Laboratory, which is responsible for overseeing the testing in question, is no longer able to provide laboratory support for proficiency testing and data analysis. An email viewed by the news outlet reads, "The cuts come as other critical food testing is also being suspended. Last week, it was reported that the FDA was gutting its food safety testing operations. The agency said it would end virtually all routine food safety inspections, which are designed to ensure that the food that Americans eat is free from harmful pesticides and other contaminants. Gizmodo reached out to the FDA for more information and will update this story if it responds. The HHS, which is the parent agency of the FDA, has been hit by massive layoffs in recent months, thanks to the Trump administration AS mandate to shrink the federal government and thus make it more efficient. Kennedy has seemed more than willing to oblige, as America's health agency has awkwardly downsized itself and shed thousands of workers. Kennedy has preoccupied himself with a bizarre autism study, which he claims will prove autism's cause by the fall, and the reintroduction of tallow to French fries. FDA suspends milk quality control testing program after Trump layoffs effective Monday. The agency suspends its proficiency testing program for grade A raw milk and finished products. The Food and Drug Administration is suspending a quality control program for testing fluid milk and other dairy products due to reduced capacity in its Food Safety and Nutrition Division, according to an internal email seen by Reuters. The suspension is another disruption to the nation's food safety programs after the termination and departure of 20 0 employees of the Department of Health and Human Services, which includes the FDA, as part of Donald Trump's effort to shrink the federal workforce. The FDA this month also suspended existing and developing programs that ensured accurate testing for bird flu in milk and cheese and pathogens like the parasite Cyclospora in other food products. Effective Monday, the agency suspended its proficiency testing program for grade A raw milk and finished products. According to the email sent in the morning from the FDA's Division of Dairy Safety and addressed to Network Laboratories. Trump administration axes key STI lab amid dramatic rise in U.S. syphilis cases. Grade A milk, or fluid milk, meets the highest sanitary standards. The testing program was suspended because FDA's Moffitt Center Proficiency Testing Laboratory, part of its division overseeing food safety, is no longer able to provide laboratory support for proficiency testing and data analysis, the email said. An HHS spokesperson said the laboratory had already been set to be decommissioned before the staff cuts, and that though proficiency testing would be paused during the transition to a new laboratory, dairy product testing would continue. The Trump administration has proposed cutting 40 tons from the agency. The FDA's proficiency testing programs ensure consistency and accuracy across the nation's network of food safety laboratories. Laboratories also rely on those quality control tests to meet standards for accreditation. The FDA is actively evaluating alternative approaches for the upcoming fiscal year and will keep all participating laboratories informed as new information becomes available, the email said. Subscribe and leave a comment below with any questions, and I'll see you in the next video.